Hey there, inspired soul. Welcome to the Divinely Inspired Living podcast. I'm your host, Erin Ann Barcelos, angel intuitive, spiritual life coach, and manifestation expert. I'm so glad you're here. Together, we're going to be tuning into the universe, radiating the highest version of ourselves, and manifesting a life beyond our wildest dreams. It's my mission to support you in reclaiming your gifts from ancient lifetimes, developing a strong relationship with your angels and spirit guides, and living life in passionate co-creation with the love of the universe. Because here's the thing, at the end of our lives, this time around, we want to be able to say one thing: mission accomplished. Thank you so much for being here. Let's dive deep. Hey, welcome back for another episode of the Divinely Inspired Living podcast. I am so grateful and excited that you are here with me today. This episode is all about rebirth. And, over the last couple podcasts, we have been talking a lot about the journeys of walking through the fires of transformation. And at the end of the day, what the heck makes it all worth it? Well, let me tell you, the things that make it worth it are the rebirth and new life that comes to fruition as a result. I've been so honored and grateful to share my story with you, share some of the challenges that I've been undergoing over recent months. Thank you for everybody who's reached out and sent condolences my way. If you're new here and haven't gotten the scoop of some of the fires I've been walking through on my personal journey, you can reflect back on the last few episodes. Episode 3, 6, and 7 will really fill you in awesomely on all the juicy deets. But no reason to go back and revisit the past, because today I'm here to celebrate all of the new life and rebirth that is coming into fruition. I feel like rebirth is such an important part of life and such an important part of the transformation process, because where would we be without it, right? We are in constant cycles and phases of renewing ourselves and evolving into new and improved versions of ourselves. I mean, if you're on a growth path like I am, and like so much of us here in this community listening to this podcast and a part of the Divinely Inspired Living community, the Inspired Souls community, we come together with, as like minds with shared interest in personal growth, spirituality, wanting to connect with the universe, wanting to connect with our angels. And when we allow our lives to be fueled by that primary intention, that primary motivation, the renewals that we tend to experience in our lives over and over and over are rebirth processes that allow us to keep continuously evolving into greater versions of ourselves. So I'm really celebrating that in this moment. I'm celebrating my own growth and evolvement and transformation, and I'm celebrating yours as well. Who you are today is not who you were yesterday, and who you are today is not who you were a few months ago, and who you are today is not who you were a few years ago. And you, sweetheart, chose to incarnate into this body, into this lifetime, really gung-ho to complete your mission in this lifetime and be committed to evolving more and more into your highest potential. And I truly believe that those of us who are listening on this podcast, as we gather here in these recordings, we are like-minded soul family who also have a part of us that really resonates with the Bodhisattva vows, which involve dedicating our journey of evolving as a soul out to benefit all beings. Let me say that again. There is a part of you and a part of me. We resonate together in this way that has really set forth this desire to continuously grow and evolve as a spiritual being to reach your full potential, and dedicating those efforts out so that it blesses all beings. I'm going to say that one more time. Let's let it sink in super deeply. We are committed to continuously evolving as souls to reach our highest potential for the benefit of all beings. And so it is. So when we live our life committed to our growth and evolution, and life presents us with a lot of fires and initiations that we're walking through, I've come to trust it wholeheartedly, even though it's super painful and excruciating as you're going through it, as really a part of our transformation. With every death comes rebirth. In order for a new cycle to begin, the current cycle has to end. And this is such an art, as these are untangible ways of life, rhythms of life, cycles of life, that we pretty much need to learn how to surf through, move through, really feel into as we go through them. Now, I'm not saying with all manifestation it requires going through pain in order to really achieve and step into the desire that you'd like. No. That's not what I'm saying. Because it is absolutely possible for miracles to happen, for us to be in the flow of love, for things to be feeling good. And the more we feel good, the more positive experiences we're going to have. So that is all really important and a huge part of manifestation. I'm not saying that pain is a prerequisite when it comes to manifestation, but I do think that what most manifestation teachings are lacking is what I find to be true for myself, and a lot of my clients super resonate with as well, is that, I think that we come together in this topic of manifesting our dream lives with a super deep soul's purpose underlying it in the middle, right? Like, what I'm talking about is like myself and the people I work with, we're like, I want to reach my full potential in this lifetime. I want to manifest my dream partnership. I want to manifest the career and the fulfillment of my life's purpose. I want to accomplish the mission that I came to this life to fulfill. I want to reach my full potential. I want to clear that old karma. I want to heal the generations of trauma that have been passed down in my family for centuries. I want to break through these cycles. I want to free myself from suffering, and I want the entire world to benefit from my efforts. Whoo! Let me tell you, friend, that's a whole different ballgame. We're not just talking about manifesting your dream car. We're not just talking about manifesting somebody that you can happily live every morning and evening with in your home. We're talking about the nitty-gritty, deepest parts that go way, way, way beyond the body, tapping into the very essence of your soul and really giving it life to continue to grow and evolve so that we can ultimately break the cycles of incarnation. When we break the cycles of incarnation, the Buddhists talk about that as becoming free from samsara. Samsara being a word to describe suffering, the cycles of suffering, basically this hamster wheel where we come into a life, leave a life, come into a life, leave a life, come into a life, leave a life. And enlightenment, this ultimate goal, is to really grow and evolve into love, into ascension, into higher consciousness, so that we can be one, back to unity, back to true oneness, and not have to repeat incarnating within these cycles of suffering. Whoa, okay, so I know these are big goals. And we might not even get close really in this lifetime or in a single lifetime. But the thing is that when there's a desire to grow in these powerful ways, when there's a desire to fill our soul's purpose during a single lifetime, you better believe there's going to be initiations and fires to walk through. That is part of the transformation process. That is part of the growth process. That's how we peel back these layers of suffering. That's how we really become free from the trauma and pain that's been passed down in our family lines. The same lines that we chose to incarnate into, probably so that we could help the whole lineage break free from that trauma. This work is not for the faint of heart. This work is not for wimps. This work is not for people who simply want to manifest $1 million and their dream car. We're talking about something so much deeper. I'm not saying you can't have $1 million or your dream car, because God wills for us to be abundant and happy in all ways. And the more that we're able to receive, the more that we're able to give. And the better we truly feel on every level of our being, the brighter we vibrate. And sometimes the large amounts of money and the cars are absolutely a part of that. But circling back to the work we're doing, every single trial and tribulation that we move through benefits all beings simply by our intention that we may have even set long ago. So as we move through our challenges, as we focus on how to maneuver ourselves through this growth and this tight spot and this dark tunnel, as we find our way through and keep coming back to love and got swept up in the fear, but I'm choosing love again now in this moment. As we move through these processes, it helps us to get closer to that enlightened state of oneness, of higher consciousness, of a stronger connection to the divine, a stronger connection to love. We're able to be love more. When we let go of the baggage, we're able to be more in love. And that's really what it's all about. Moving through our processes in a way that peels back layers of the onion, which are anything that's inhibiting our ability to be fully in love. So we move through these processes, peel back these layers, and every layer we peel back, we're more able to be in love more. We're more connected to peace. We're more connected to forgiveness. We're more connected to joy. We're more connected to a lightness of life. This peace, joy, happiness, appreciation, high vibration becomes naturally our predominant state and vibration, especially when we continuously are peeling back these layers of anything that is inhibiting ourselves from it. And sometimes these layers of the onion that get peeled back are crappy stuff that we've experienced in this lifetime. So pain from childhood, unforgiveness from past relationships. You heard from me like feeling betrayed by the universe and feeling a lot of grief and sadness around experiencing pregnancy loss. Of course, with that came a lot of fear of, is this going to happen for me? What if it can't? It shows up in all different kinds of ways. Then there's the layers that are connected to past lifetimes. So unresolved stuff from the past, which you probably can't really remember unless you do some deep meditation, have support, or do like a regression, right? So there's past lifetimes of pain and trauma and different types of experiences, things maybe you've done or done to others, things that have been done to you, things that you went through. That stuff has an imprint in our psyches and souls that I've come to expect a lot of those layers to come up to be released and freed. It's part of that onion too. Then there's the generational stuff, like the things that have been going on in your family for centuries that you are here to help transmute and heal and be a cycle breaker for. There's a lot of stuff going on with that onion. And it takes an extreme amount of courage to peel back these layers. It takes an extreme amount of dedication to peel back these layers. And it takes a lot of practice and keep coming back to the yearning and intention to come closer and closer into love. Keep coming back to love. Keep coming back to love. Keep coming back to love. And as we move through these processes, my experience is that, every time we transform or go through a death and a rebirth, we're being rebirthed into a higher version of ourselves. And that higher version of ourselves, even if she or he is constantly changing, right? Getting lighter and lighter. There's so many higher versions of myself that I've become and still have yet to become in this lifetime. And that higher version of ourselves is the part of us that is extremely magnetic to miracles. And let me tell you, sweetheart, need to say this loud and clear. Listen up, listen up, listen up. You are worthy of miracles. You are worthy of miracles. You are worthy of miracles. Take a deep breath, breathe it in. Receiving miracles now. Again. I receive miracles now. I'm open to miracles. I'm so glad you're open to miracles because you are so worthy of them. Okay, so I'm going to shift gears a little bit here. And I'm going to go sink deep, get vulnerable with you, and share a little bit of my thoughts and beliefs around my winter of initiations now that I'm able to reflect after having made it through the dark tunnel. Now that I'm in this place of rebirth, I can feel this new part of myself coming more and more into form and frequency every day. My frequency has changed. And there's a major part where I'm at, which is still in discovery and curiosity of who am I now? Who am I becoming? And I'm still getting to know myself in this way, but I feel like a beautiful, sacred, even more powerful new version of myself has been born and is in her infancy of really becoming a strong force in the world. So I'll keep you updated as more of that energy begins to get stronger and more in fruition, and as I get more comfortable in that discovery of who I am now and who I'm becoming and who I've become as a result of my most recent initiations and loss and grief and unraveling of who I was. But I do want to share with you some of my insights and thoughts about what it's like looking back on some of the things that I went through. So as intense as it was to have a whole plethora of major experiences happening one after another, it really all kind of, I feel like, happened as a result of me relocating to Mount Shasta. So I'm new to the area. I have been here, it'll be a year next month. And aside from my holistic education, which was like a college-like venture, I had spent my entire life born and raised in South Lake Tahoe. So it was a pretty big, significant change for me to leave my life there behind and relocate to a new place, and particularly a place with such spiritual power that Mount Shasta has. So I feel like that takes the transformation to a whole nother level than it really would be just moving to a location that doesn't have such strong spiritual qualities. And the reason why I say that is because Mount Shasta is the root chakra of the planet, and coming here is kind of like visiting a portal. And this is a portal. They talk about Mount Shasta as being the place where heaven and earth meet. And that's absolutely true. And even before I lived here, every single visit here felt like plugging directly into source and getting major downloads of guidance and information from the universe that catapults oneself into the next version of their evolution. So everything like we've been talking about in this episode, I find Mount Shasta to be specifically like a power spot to aid in this kind of transformation and spiritual connection. So when I moved here last year, I knew, even just with all of the intentions that I've been setting for manifestation in my own life, I knew that moving here would be very significant in all of my dreams that I've been setting intentions for many years. It's coming to fruition with this relocation. Now, I guess I kind of just thought that I'd be able to move here and it would somewhat easily fall into place. And now what I recognize was necessary to happen is that my old self needed a little bit more dismantling. And dismantling in big ways. There are a lot of components to just even those series of experiences that I described. Okay, so one, for example, I had a lot of stuff going on in my family dynamic, and like me as the daughter with my parents, with my siblings. My father had some health issues. Thank God he's doing okay and really healing and becoming healthy again. Another rebirth and area of renewal. And the rebirth and area of renewal that I'm experiencing in my family dynamic is that through some chaos and hardship, it was like these old patterns that I've been carrying since childhood that really haven't served me, aren't serving our family dynamic. And even though it was like messy as all this stuff was coming to the surface, I experienced a really significant healing and purging in letting go of old stuff that I took on in childhood and don't need to carry with me anymore. So I'm able to like step more fully into my new self, having let some of that stuff go. Another piece that's come up with my initiations this winter has involved moving to Mount Shasta, opening an office location downtown, thinking it was going to be the perfect next step in how I serve the world. My business is mostly online, yet with opening the office space, it meant having a hybrid location, so being both in person and both in person and online. And I did feel guided to make that decision. Some of the guidance honestly felt like there was a little bit of gray area there. So nonetheless, I was in this new office space, which I absolutely believe I was there for a reason. Now, in hindsight, having experienced a car accident where the big main message for me from that car accident, my car getting totaled, really got close to losing my life, or I could have easily lost my life during that car accident. But the big main message was go in a different direction, which for me was a very clear, because I needed to like get hit by another car, clear kind of message, throw in the towel with this office space. And I went through that whole process, let it go, now back to a home office, which I'm very, very happy with. But in reflection, I feel like I was supposed to be in the situation I was there for those 6, 7, 8 months because there was a lot of karma being cleared for me. Now, I had owned an in-person healing center in the past for about 5 years in South Lake Tahoe, supported by angels is what it was called. I have experienced like some karmic patterns throughout my life, which kind of resurfaced during this office space here in Mount Shasta. So like patterns of just difficult relationship with landlords or people that I was doing business with. And with this situation with the office space in Mount Shasta, it felt like some of those karmic patterns got resurfaced in my experience. And so I had to move through them again and make new decisions this time around, approach them differently, think about it differently. You know, I'm in a new place myself. But there were parts of it that was like, oh man, this again? Gosh, I thought I was like done with this karmic pattern a long time ago, but here it is again. And so where I'm at with it now is I really feel like moving through these experiences within the last 6 months has supported me in really clearing those karmic roots and patterns once and for all. Like I had to revisit some of the similar situations again and really clean up whatever energetic or karmic mess that I had been carrying with me, who knows, maybe for lifetimes. But I really believe that in having these experiences this time around, I was able to like look at some of this stuff one final time and make a complete decision to let those patterns fall away in my old self death. so that I can now be rebirthed into the true self and true life that I dream of and see myself living here in Mount Shasta. And then you heard my story in the last episode about all the miracles and blessings that unfolded with the car accident. And even though I super grieved the loss of my Jeep that came from my friend Bill, but how wonderful it's felt to feel connected to him and supported by the universe in this whole process, regardless of how rough it's been to walk through. And to revisit the pregnancy loss that I experienced. So I'm definitely celebrating a lot of blessings that have blossomed in my partnership as a result of some of the hardship that we've experienced through the loss of pregnancy. What was the hardest about that experience for me was losing the pregnancy, one that I really wanted. I really want to be a mother. I really wanted to have this pregnancy be healthy and go full term and give birth to a child. It was a very happy surprise that I was very, 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 very much looking forward to. And so one of the hardest parts about this whole experience was not just losing the pregnancy, but just a few weeks before that, I experienced those powerful miracles with the car accident and the insurance and for real, I saw the power of the universe. I was like, wow, with the way things unfolded with the insurance and the car accident, it was literally okay, God's real. Okay, God's real, prayer works, miracles are for real. It was I saw the power of what God can do. And so to experience a pregnancy loss just a few weeks later was extremely devastating, and I felt very betrayed by the universe because I was like, WTF, universe? I know you can make miracles happen. So why would this not work out perfectly and healthy? And why would you give me a baby and take it away? Is kind of where I was feeling with it. Taking a nice deep breath and just honoring those feelings and clearing them at the same time. In my healing and reflecting on the process and rekindling my relationship with the universe and coming back to faith and asking my angels to give me insight on the experience, I feel like there was a mechanical glitch with the pregnancy for whatever reason. And please excuse the TMI, but in the expelling of tissue and the blood that left my body, left my womb, left my uterus, I felt like it was a full clearing. For some reason, my body had to go through this process of pregnancy loss so that my womb could be cleaned out to be a more ideal environment or home or nest for a little baby to grow. And the things that I felt leaving my womb were things like lots of trauma from things that I've been through in my life that involved sexual assault, being womanized. I felt like there was a lot of layers of just trauma that women go through in general. I felt like there was a big clearing that happened, and it, again, kind of going back to the topic of this episode, it wasn't just a clearing for me, it was a collective clearing as well. Now, I don't just go through hard things and then hope there was a good reason that this stuff happened. I mean, sometimes I do, but Let me get specific with you here. I'm always asking my angels. I'm always asking divine source. What's the lesson? What's the higher purpose? What's the reason? How can I grow from this? And there's always an answer. And so, even though I truly allowed myself to be in the depths of my pain and move through it and, to be angry for a good amount of time. If you knew me well, you would know that I allow myself to feel my emotions fully. And I learned that when you feel them fully, that's how they process fully. If you don't feel them fully, they don't process fully, and then they get stored. They get stored in the body as unhealed trauma. And I've really worked on my own growth, healing so much unhealed trauma, layer after 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 layer, my whole life, that I'm really grateful for my ability to just be present in the depths of pain and despair, to do my darndest to feel it at my fullest capacity so that it can move through me fully processed. And once it's processed, then I can step forward back into a place of faith, back into a place of trust, back into a place of, okay, God, I was pretty mad at you, but I'm willing to forgive you. Can you just explain to me why this happened? And it's in those answers in which I know I came to this planet to move through that kind of shit. I know I came to this planet to heal on powerful, powerful levels for myself and to benefit all beings. I know that when it comes down to it, I would probably walk through the pain all over again, because my growth as a soul, my soul's evolution, my contribution to humanity, my contribution to this planet, my contribution to help lift all of us, myself included, into the higher frequency of love. That's more important to me than anything else. And of course, I don't want to experience loss over something that's important to me. But I do believe there's something better coming. And with faith, we can move through these fires and move through these initiations. And when the storms pass and the sun comes out and the flowers that represent new life grow and bloom, that garden is the most beautiful garden we've ever seen. You are worthy of miracles. Let's say it together. I am worthy of miracles. I am worthy of miracles. I am open to miracles. I am open to miracles. I receive miracles now. I receive miracles now. Happy rebirth, my friend. I'm celebrating this energy of rebirth for myself, for you, for the planet, for the collective. Death and rebirth are natural cycles of life. When we can allow ourselves to surrender fully into the endings, it allows us to truly embrace the new beginnings. In order to truly become that higher version of ourselves that we always see ourselves being, the dream self that we desire to be so bad, the life of our dreams that we crave with everything that we are, we have to experience transformation so that we can be a powerful vibrational match to that reality. And in order to become a powerful vibrational match to that reality, sometimes those layers of the onion need to get peeled back. And we're in this together. We're in this together. It's my deepest honor to be with you on this journey. Thank you for letting me share my story with you. I'm looking forward to a deeper connection with you and hopefully hearing about some of the experiences that you're going through, how this episode resonates with you. I want to invite you over to the Facebook group, Inspired Souls Creating Radiant Intuitive Lives. That's a great place for us to continue the conversation. I'd love to hear from you, so meet me over there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you soon. I'm doing a serious happy dance that you made it all the way to the end of this episode. Way to go for showing up for yourself. And thanks so much for hanging out here with me. If you're feeling inspired, uplifted, moved, or you simply just loved what you heard today, please share the love by heading over to iTunes and Spotify and leaving a rating and review. Also, if you know anyone who you think would benefit from today's episode, please pass the love on to them as well. These special acts of service allow me to keep the good stuff coming. Plus, it's like sharing miracles. For more inspiration on soul-led living, connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Divinely Inspired Living. I'm sending you a big hug, lots of love. The light within me honors and acknowledges the light within you. Namaste.